Hello and welcome back to another video. To get started, I want you to take a second and think about the last time that you actually sat down to research a niche. Because if you're like most people, then you probably went straight to a list of the most profitable niches for 2025 or 2026, and you looked at things like SaaS or health or AI automation, and you probably thought, okay, there's a lot of money there, I'll just start making content and eventually the algorithm will pick me up and I'll start making sales. Now, this might be hard to hear, but it's the truth. That exact thought process is why most people in this industry are still broke. By the time a niche makes it onto a top 10 list on YouTube, the window of opportunity for beginners has already slammed shut. You aren't entering a new market, you're entering a battlefield where people with massive budgets and established teams are already fighting for every inch of space. So if you feel like you're shouting into a void or like your content is being suppressed by the algorithm, then it's usually not a technical problem. It's usually a positioning problem. You're trying to build a house on land that's already been claimed. Now, if you're tired of shouting into that void and you actually want to see your business grow this year, then do me a quick favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It ensures that you don't miss the tactical updates that I'm dropping every single week. So in this video, I'm not just going to give you more tips on how to find a niche, I'm going to show you how to find the conversion gap. This is the invisible space where a massive audience has a specific burning problem, but the big players are too slow or too corporate to go and solve it. When you find a conversion gap, you don't need millions of followers and you don't need to be a master at editing. You just need to be the person standing in that gap with the right solution. I've seen people make more money with 500 subscribers in a boring niche than some influencers make with millions of followers in the lifestyle space. And throughout the next 20 minutes, I'm going to break down the exact 3-step filter that I use to find those gaps before the rest of the world catches on. Now, I know that's a lot to take in, so to make this easier for you to implement as we go, I've actually put together a free affiliate starter pack. You can grab that at the first link in the description right now and get a head start in front of the competition. But before we get into the steps, we have to address the math, because there's a very specific income trap that traps about 90% of new affiliate marketers. They think they're building a business, but they've actually just built themselves a low-paying job with no boss and no benefits. So I'm going to show you exactly how to calculate your freedom number in a way that actually accounts for the 2026 market. Because if you pick a niche where the math doesn't work, it doesn't matter how hard you grind, you'll never be able to quit your 9-to-5 job. And there is one specific metric that I call the Desperation Index that I look at before I even consider a product. If a niche doesn't hit a certain score on this index, then I walk away immediately. I'll show you how to calculate that for yourself in just a few minutes, but first let's take a quick look at why your current niche might be starving you, even if it looks profitable on paper. Okay, so let's talk about the income trap that I mentioned just a second ago. Most people start affiliate marketing because they want freedom. They want to quit their job, stop the commute, and get their time back. But then they go out and pick a niche or a product that actually makes that freedom mathematically impossible. I see this every single day. Someone picks a product, maybe it's a fitness supplement or a cheap kitchen gadget, and they're excited because it's a popular product, but when you look at the numbers, you're making a 5% commission on a $20 item. That's $1. One single dollar for all of that work creating the content, building the funnel, and driving traffic to it daily. Now, if your goal is $5,000 a month, which is a pretty standard freedom number for most people just starting out, do you realize just how many sales you would need to make at $1 commission? You would need 5,000 sales every single month. Think about that sheer volume of traffic that you're going to need to generate 5,000 sales. Even if you have a world-class conversion rate of say 2%, you would need 250,000 people to click your link every single month. That isn't a side hustle. That's a massive media operation. You've basically just traded your 9-to-5 for a high-stress, low-paying job where you're constantly chasing the next viral hit just to pay your rent. This is what I call the pennies trap. It's something that a lot of people get sucked into, especially if they're promoting products through Amazon. And here's the part that really breaks people. It takes just as much effort to create a video that sells a $20 product as it does to create one that sells a $20,000 product. The process is exactly the same. The filming is the same, the editing is the same, but the result, well, it's fundamentally different for your lifestyle. In 2026, the game has shifted. If you want to work less and earn more, then you have to flip the script. You have to move away from high volume, low value, and move towards low volume and high value. Imagine instead that you're in a niche where the average commission is $500. Now, to hit that same $5,000 a month goal, you don't need 5,000 sales, you only need 10. That's 10 people in an entire month. That is one person every 3 days. Suddenly, you don't need 1 million followers anymore, and you don't need to go viral every single week. You just need to be incredibly helpful to 10 specific people who have a problem that only a high-ticket solution can solve. This is how you actually find your freedom number. It's about working backward from the lifestyle that you want to the math that supports it, rather than picking a product and hoping the math eventually works out. Now, the thing is, high ticket isn't just about the price tag. This leads us back to that Desperation Index that I talked about earlier. Because you can have a product that costs $5,000, but if nobody feels a sense of urgency to buy it, then you're still going to be stuck at 0. A lot of people get scared when they hear high ticket. They think, who am I to sell something for $1,000? Or nobody will spend that much money from a link on the internet. But that's a mindset block. It's not a market reality. People spend thousands of dollars online every single day, and they do it when the pain of their current situation becomes greater than the cost of the solution. So if you're selling a nice to have product, then you're fighting for pennies. But if you're selling a must-have solution, then you're playing the high-ticket game. So before we move into how we actually find these audiences, I want you to take a look at whatever you're promoting right now, or whatever you're thinking about starting to promote, and think, if you sold 10 of them tomorrow, would it actually change your life? Because if the answer is no, then you're definitely stuck in the pennies trap, and we need to get you out of it before you burn out. Because once you get the math right, the next question is, who are these people? And where is this invisible audience that is ready to pay for high value solutions while the rest of the world is fighting over the cheap stuff? And that's what we're going to look at next when we dive into the problem destiny and the psychology of the desperate buyer. Now that we've fixed the math, we have to find the people, and this is where almost everyone gets niche selection wrong. If you go into a tool like Google Keyword Planner or look at Facebook interest groups, you're going to see millions of people interested in things like golf or travel or cooking, and standard advice tells you to pick one of those interests and start creating content. But the reality is, interests don't sell products, problems sell products. Think about it. If you're interested in golf, you might watch a few videos of Tiger Woods or look at some nice golf courses. You're a fan. But are you ready to reach into your pocket and spend $500 right now? No, probably not. You're just browsing. You're what I call a passive viewer. Now compare that to someone who has developed a massive slice in their swing and they have a tournament this weekend that they've already paid for. They are frustrated, they're embarrassed, and they're desperate for a fix. They aren't looking for entertainment, they are looking for an exit from their current reality. That is a buyer, and in 2026, if you want to find that conversion gap that we talked about, you have to stop looking for audiences and start looking for problem destiny. Problem destiny is the measure of how much pain a specific group of people is in at any given moment. I use a tool for this called the Desperation Index. It's a simple 1 to 10 scale that I run every niche through before I touch it. On one end of the scale, at level 1, you have general interests. This is someone who likes looking at pictures of nice houses. There is no urgency there. But on the other end, at level 10, you have critical pain. This is someone whose business is failing, or someone who's about to lose their job because they don't have a specific skill set, or someone whose health is preventing them from playing with their kids. Something like that. When you find a level 10 problem, the high ticket price tag that we talked about earlier stops becoming an obstacle, because to that person, the cost of the solution is far lower than the cost of staying in pain. This is how you find the invisible audience. So while the big influencers are fighting over the millions of people who are just interested in a topic, you're going to go deep into the corners of the internet where people are asking specific, painful questions. You find them on Reddit threads where people are are venting their frustrations. You find them in the people also ask section of Google. You find them in the comment sections of your competitors' videos where people are saying, this was a great overview, but I still don't know how to do X. That X is your conversion gap. The big players, the ones with the massive budgets, usually stay at the surface level. They make content for the masses because they need the millions of views to sustain their overheads. They can't afford to get specific, but you can. As a beginner or a small creator, your superpower is specificity. You don't need to be a marketing guru. You need to be the guy who solves the high-ticket affiliate strategy for UK finance professionals problem. When you get that specific, your problem destiny skyrockets. Suddenly, you aren't a salesperson trying to convince someone to buy a gadget anymore. You're a specialist providing a lifeline to someone who is drowning. But there is a catch to this. Even if you find the perfect high-ticket product and the perfect desperate audience, there is a new threat in 2026 that can kill your business before it starts. And that's the AI content flood. If you don't know how to pass the authority filter, the algorithm is going to characterize your content as spam and hide it from the very people who need to see it. So how do you prove to a platform like YouTube or TikTok that you're the real deal, even if you've never made a single sale before? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to break down next. Okay, so we've got the math right and we found an audience in pain, but there is a massive elephant in the room that we have to talk about, and if you want to survive in 2026, you need to understand it. And that is the AI content flood. Right now, as we speak, there are thousands of people using AI to churn out generic, soulless affiliate blogs and videos, and they're flooding the search results and the social feeds with recycled information that no one actually wants to read. If you try to compete with them by being just another content creator, then you're going to lose. The algorithms, whether it's Google, YouTube, or TikTok, have become incredibly sophisticated at spotting this low effort junk, and they're aggressively burying it. This is why picking your niche based on what I call the authority filter is no longer optional, it's a survival requirement. The authority filter is a test to see if you can provide what AI cannot, and that's perspective, proof, and personality. In the old days of affiliate marketing, you could pick a niche that you knew absolutely nothing about, hire a cheap writer, and rank on page 1. But those days are gone, and in 2026, the algorithm wants to see EEAT. That's experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. If you pick a niche where you have zero personal connection or interest, then the algorithm will sense that lack of depth in your content and it will stop showing it to other people. But here is the good news. You don't need to be a world-class expert to pass this filter. You just need to be a documenter. Think about niches that you're considering getting into. Can you talk about them for 20 minutes without a script? Have you personally used the products yourself? Have you actually sold the problem that you're talking about? If the answer is yes, then you have a massive advantage over all the AI bots. The algorithm actually wants to promote you because you provide a unique value. You provide a human perspective that a language model simply can't replicate. So when you're choosing your niche, just ask yourself, can I add a layer of personal proof here? For example, if you're in the finance niche, then don't just talk about how to save money. Talk about how you saved a specific amount of money using a specific tool. Show the receipts, show the struggle, because that proof is like kryptonite to the AI flood. It signals to the platform that this is high quality original content, and that is what triggers the algorithm to push you out to a much wider audience. This is also how you beat the big corporate players that I mentioned earlier. They can't be personal with their audience, they can't be raw, they have to be safe and on brand. So you can be the person who tells the truth, who shows the behind the scenes, and who actually engages with the community. I want you to look at the niches that we've discussed, the ones with high problem density. Now cross-reference them with your own life. Where have you had a breakthrough? What have you spent hours researching just because you want to solve it for yourself? That intersection is your authority sweet spot. When you find that spot, the content stops feeling like work and starts feeling like a conversation. And more importantly, the conversion gap that we talked about earlier starts to close because people don't just buy the product, they buy your recommendation. They buy the fact that a real person with a real face told them that this solution actually works. So if you can pass the authority filter, then you aren't just another affiliate marketer anymore, you're a trusted advisor in a specific space. And that is the most valuable position that you can hold in 2026. But I know what some of you are thinking. Tristan, this sounds great, but it still sounds like a lot of work. How do I actually get started without spending the next 6 months in research mode? Well, that's exactly why I've built this shortcut, because I've already run these filters on dozens of industries and I found 4 specific niches where the conversion gap is the widest and the authority filter is the easiest to pass. In the final part of this video, I'm going to show you how to take everything we've talked about today and put it into action immediately without all the guesswork. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We've fixed the math that was keeping you stuck in the pennies trap. We've identified your invisible audience through the Desperation Index, and we've talked about how to survive the AI content flood by passing the authority filter. But I want to be real with you as we close this out. Knowing all of this is one thing, but actually executing it is another. I know exactly how it feels to finish a video like this, look at a blank screen, and feel that wave of overwhelm wash over you. You start wondering, okay, but which niche do I actually pick first? What does the first email actually look like? And how do I build a funnel that doesn't look like a scam? The biggest reason people fail in entrepreneurship isn't a lack of information, it's a lack of momentum. They get stuck in research mode for 3 months, they never actually launch anything, and then they wonder why their life hasn't changed. I don't want that to be you, so I want to give you a bridge. I want to take the guesswork out of the first 24 hours of this journey. Instead of trying to figure out all the technical pieces and the niche research by yourself, I've put together something called the Affiliate Starter Pack. This is my free resource designed to do one thing: get you moving. It includes the exact framework we talked about today, simplified into a roadmap that you can follow step by step. It's the closest thing that I can give you to a business in a box to get your foundation set without all the headache behind it. There's a link right at the top of the description. You can go there and grab the starter pack completely free and have your direction clear by the end of today. But the most important thing is that you start, because 2026 is going to pass whether you take action or not. So you can spend another year watching people talk about their commissions, or you can be the one documenting your own journey and building a lifestyle that actually belongs to you. Also, if you found value in this video today, then do me a huge favor, hit the like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn on the notifications as well, so that way you never miss an upload, because as we saw with the AI content flood, the strategies in this industry change fast, and I don't want you to miss the updates that are going to keep you ahead of the curve, because entrepreneurship is a marathon, not a sprint. But you can't win the race if you're still standing at the starting line debating which shoes to wear. So grab the starter pack, pick your direction, and let's get to work. I'll see you in the next video, and I'll see you in the comments.